Uh,
Heyo.
I've dogged on the pacing of this month's intro, but I'm sure there's some people who've tuned in who really need that, that
Yeah.
moment of peace and silence,
A
help them
moment of yeah,
kickstart getting their minds right.
being out there in nature and enjoying the planet we live on. Yeah,
Right? While you're
I
all
vibe
sitting
with
at
that.
your computers or cell phones watching this.
You need it every now and then, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Why go outside when we can bring it to you?
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
That's right.
exactly.
Uh, this week we have Jon Bristol joining the show.
Jon Bristol.
John, welcome to the show.
Hey, hey, thanks for having me. Hello.
Hey, no problem, man. Thank you for being here.
I'm excited.
Well, go ahead and tell the people who you are, what you do, John.
My name is Jon Bristol. I'm from Central Connecticut, and I make movies with puppets. Probably most known for making a horror film about 8 years ago called Head that hit streaming about 6 years ago. Yeah, and it's a horror comedy with puppets, throwback to like 1980s stuff, but we do all kinds of stuff with puppets, more aimed at adults, PG-13 R-rated stuff, but all films and movies and short films and web series. Yeah. And we do commercial work too, but no one else hear about that.
You have no idea. There might have been,
Hey,
some corporate man watching this right now going,
if you need a puppet for your project, we do that too. Yeah. Or we need some
plug away, my friend.
Right? Yeah. I'm the main puppet maker for the company, so like
that's what's up.
I'm always happy to say that we make puppets for the people if they want them. I was just talking to a guy about one recently, so it's cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what we do though. That's me. That's who I am. Central Connecticut. Been here most of my life and making movies.
I love it. Once I discovered that Head was from 2015, I was like, well, I guess we probably could have reached out for a more recent project, but that Facebook post threw me a little bit about it being on Tubi.
Yeah, and like it hit Tubi in 2017, and it had a slow burn on there. So like, if you didn't find it somewhere else, yeah, it wasn't easy to find necessarily. Amazon's not the greatest and things like that, but it's there now.
Well, we both checked it out over the weekend, and we had a lot of fun with it. We really enjoyed it. I know we were talking before the show how the opening of it threw us off a little bit, but I appreciated it. I appreciated the opening, and I know you're telling us it was kind of as a cheat to the system, and we've had to consider that ourselves.
Yeah, like what they call not a dark necessity. That's a Chili Pepper song, but I can't think of it. You kind of had to do it to make it an hour long to break through the feature film thing for film festivals and all that. And so we added a short film we had previously made and came up with the Graveyard Guild character to be the horror host, like the Crypt Keeper, Elvira, the old horror host people had, Sven Gulli, like. And then we did a bunch with him afterwards. He hosts us whole YouTube short films now. I
was getting ready to ask what came first, the
Graveyard
Guild or
the short film came first, then Head, and then we came with the Graveyard Guild to put it all together.
Gotcha.
And now since then he's had 3 or 4 other horror shorts that we put up, and we have like 4 more written that hopefully we'll be shooting in the next year. So that he hosts badly.
Nice.
I play Gil, so that's kind of the fun. I get to be the host.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. What got you into like making puppets?
I mean, I was a lifelong nerd. I'm of that 70s generation. I was born in 75, so I'm like that perfect generation for the Muppet Show. It started like a year or so after I was born, and like it was kids of the 70s will remember the Muppets stuff than anybody than 80s, 90s, 2000 kids, because it was almost as big as Star Wars.
Yeah.
There was only 5 channels when you were in the 70s and early 80s.
I love the Muppets.
Yeah. But like Sunday nights, the world stopped to watch the Muppet Show, and Sesame Street was on 5 days a week. So you had this Muppet fix when I was 5 years old in 1980. So it was like, there was Muppets, and then there was Star Wars, and then there was like, whatever cool cartoons I was watching. And I was like the older stuff. I was big on Looney Tunes and Popeye and Woody Woodpecker and things like that, which shows my sense of humor now, I think. So like, but I was always into that, and then I really got into comics and cartooning and started making my own comics. And me and some friends were writing and trying to produce our own books in the 90s. And we had this one comic strip that was based on us, and we thought it'd be funny to make a movie, but none of us were attractive enough to be in movies. And it was literally how I got into making puppets. It was one night we were sitting around watching a Muppet Christmas Carol around Christmas time, and I was like, we should make that movie with puppets, the one we want to make of the comic. We should just, how hard can it be to make puppets? And it took over my life. Comics, started learning how to make puppets, and I didn't mean to do that. It just I fell in love with the art form, and I was always into puppetry too. Like growing up, watched all the Thunderbird stuff, Alf, whatever was on, I was wanted to see it all, but it really took over when I started learning how to build them, and it became an obsession.
Yeah.
So that's and
Yeah,
then
right.
from there we started making movies. Once we had puppets built, that was half the problem.
Right.
We've never made that movie we wanted to make though. It just never happened.
So
That is pretty-
no more comics or anything since then?
I only really draw now when I'm designing puppets. Like I did some comics for off and on after that, but never had anything published or anything. I just only draw now when I'm really designing
Full
puppets.
takeover.
Or I'm just burnt out and just want to draw to get away from everything else. Still love comics, just yeah.
Yeah.
Now
That's
we've had that conversation with me and him. He was telling you beforehand, we wanted to do a puppet thing, and we said the same. Like, how hard can it really be? It's like, because even if you made a really shitty looking puppet, I feel like as long as it's doing what a puppet needs to do, it still will work for what you need it to do.
Exactly, it's how you present it. Like look at Kermit the Frog. I always use him as the example because he's the pinnacle of the simplicity.
Right.
He's not a sock puppet, but he could have been. It's that simple. It's just a hand with fabric over it. There's nothing else to it. There's no big piece of foam. It's just as simple as can be. And it's the most recognized puppet in history.
I mean, hell, Syphil and Ollie just went the full simplicity route and just did the sock puppets.
Let's talk that they were the best. I love that show. Like still love that show.
Syphil and Ollie, I believe Liam Lynch was one of the guys behind that, and he's the guy who actually made me want to be a director.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff he's done is brilliant. Like, I'm a big fan of his too. Like, I saw him live in Tampa when he was touring with Tenacious D back in 2001 or 2. When Tenacious D's first album came out, he was the opening act, and he played Syphil and Ollie songs. And then he was their drummer that night after. It was like, well, that's the same dude. And I'm like, that's the guy from Syphil. I didn't know he was the guy from Syphil and Ollie until he played Whatever. Because that was the United States of Whatever was one of the songs from the show. And I was just like, oh my God, this is that guy.
He's such an interesting dude too. Like, he's got such an interesting career, and like so few people know who he is.
But everyone knows his stuff, Like United States Whatever, because that was the huge one-hit wonder. The Tenacious D movie.
I don't know if he still holds the Guinness Book of World Records for that song.
The shortest charting song, probably.
Yeah.
But so make a puppet, man. The worst that happens is it doesn't look the way you want it. You make your movie, then later you make another puppet, or you don't, or you become like me. It takes over everything.
I do have a sock puppet pitch for Shep. He hasn't heard yet, so yeah, we would love to get into the puppet stuff for sure. Just our world is kind of set up to do whatever, and we're excited to explore the different universes of Chases and Sheps that aren't quite human. We haven't really got to that yet.
We were talking before off camera about a show we did called Animal Behavior, which is like very kid friendly. It's not a fake kid show; it's family friendly. It's still got some of those things that go over kids' heads. Like, it's a very Muppet show, very Looney Tunes, where there's jokes for the grown ups in it too. But saying like the alternate universe, the main human in it is based on me. It looks like me. You feel like a bald guy with a beard, and it's so that was on purpose, or and in the head, all the puppets were supposed to look like people we knew and things like that, or were famous people, like, because we couldn't get the real actors, so we made a Bruce Campbell puppet, and then
knew it,
and then named it Bruce. Like we named. What's funny, when totally off topic, when we wrote that movie originally to not do it with puppets, we were going to do it with actors. And so we named the character Bruce because we're like, it's a throwback to Evil Dead. No one will know. We'll never find an actor that looks like Bruce Campbell. And we didn't, because we couldn't find any actors. So we decided to do it with puppets. Like, we gave up and we're like, do it the way we do everything else. And I'm glad we did, because no one would have seen Head if we did it with actors. I think you just would have got lost in the shuffle. Yeah.
I did enjoy the story of
Head.
But how did that come about? Like, writing the story?
Like, when I say early, I mean probably 2006. I came to we have a group of people we work with, Elmwood Productions team, and I came to a meeting on one night, and I was like, I just watched Evil Dead like the weekend before, Evil Dead 2 the weekend before, with a pizza, a bottle of whiskey, and a 6-pack of beer, and was like, I hadn't watched it in a while. It's one of my favorite movies. And we had never done a horror movie yet. We had a horror character, like a horror comedy character called Steve the Vampire, that we have a whole web series with, but we hadn't done like a real horror thing. I came in the room and I'm just like, guys, we should do movie like Evil Dead 2. Like, but do it with actors, not with puppets. Let's just do something different. We still weren't really accomplished yet. And one of the guys on our team was like, I'll write that. And then by the time he wrote it, it was something completely different. And we're like, well, we'll make that movie anyways, but it needs a rewrite. And then that just never happened. And one night, out of frustration, I came home from my day job 4 or 5 years later, and there was gonna be a blizzard here in Connecticut, and I knew I'd be stuck home all weekend, so I went to the grocery store first, got my beer ready, got my pizza, got like everything I needed, and sat at the computer that night and wrote the first draft over that weekend of what became Head, because I wanted to write the movie we didn't get to make. I'm like, we're never gonna make this. I just want to get off my chest, and I just wanted to hit every cliche. You know, I want the boobs, the black guy gets killed first, like all the stupid cliches that you see. Like, and I love these cliches. That's why I wanted them there. And then I wanted to have like the Jaws type reveal where you never really see the killer till almost the end. You never really see the Jaws, the shark. You know, like that's another of my favorite horror movies. So it just came out of me just wanting to write something that was horror that I thought we'd never make. And then 5 years later, it was done. We shot it. It was like, well, it happened.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it was just a tribute to the 70s, 80s horror movies that I loved. The only way it could have been cooler is the guy like a claw glove like Freddy, you know, like couldn't go that far.
Right.
The action's good enough. Yeah.
No, yeah. I like he's saying, I did enjoy the story too. It had me entertained, captivated. I was in it like, what that, like, is it this weird guy that's popped up here at the camp?
Yeah.
Or could it be somebody else? I don't know. Is it the town? It sounds like the town's kind of
the town
fucky.
guys, the skeezy ranger, you know, like
Yeah. So it was well done, and the puppets, add that comedy, add that hilarity to the whole thing.
The script was definitely funny. I knew that I write comedy mostly, so like I knew it'd be funny even with that's a horror. I think the best horror movies have comedy anyways, because it's that balance that gets you freaked out for the scare, you know. And I think the puppet thing just made it a little weirder and a little funnier.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then like just their little interactions and stuff when somebody will say something and just a puppet like turns around and it's like, look, I like that kind of stuff. So no, it was fun. It was a really fun watch.
Cool. Thank you. I mean, we all appreciate that. So yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to dive into the rest of the Elmwood catalog.
We're doing a lot more horror starting next year, so that'll be exciting if you're a horror fan. They won't be out next year. We'll start filming it next year, which is cool. We have some other horror stuff up there, and a lot of comedy.
The voice actors, are they usually the puppeteers or no?
99% of the time, the puppeteer does the voice. Sometimes we do bring in somebody. Usually there's somebody who's puppeteer as well, but something goes wrong with the audio or something like that. The opening scene of Head, not the sketch, but the opening scene where the 4 campers get killed first, that was completely dubbed over because it sounded just like the rest of the characters. Because I played one of them, Mike, who played Bruce, played one of them, like we all, and then the 2 girls were actually played by 2 other people. One of them was the one who played Vicky, one was the one who played Tom, and Tom was doing a funny voice for a girl. We knew we'd dub that later anyways, the guy who played Tom. And then we went to dub it, we're like, wow, that just sounds too much like the people that are going to get killed later. Right. So we had, our cinematographer, who's also a great director named Ricky, he did one of them. Our buddy Gabe, who did the effects, he did one. We had 2 other actors that we know who had puppeteered before, brought them in to do the other voices. But usually it's the puppeteers doing it live with a microphone stuck right here to your head. Like a headband with a microphone sticking here, or like the old headphone, like you see, like what you're wearing now, the headphone. Usually we do them right here because it picks up differently, and but yeah, so that's Usually it's the puppeteer, though. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a very good way to go about it. I wouldn't have thought of doing something like that. Oh, hell yeah, Ron. That's what's up.
Ron. Thank you, Ron.
Man, I have such a soft spot for the Muppets. The Muppets is like one of those things where it's similar to Bugs Bunny. Like I'm a grown man. I'm aware that Kermit the Frog and Bugs Bunny don't actually exist. But at the same time, if 2 fictitious characters exist in this reality of ours, it's the Muppets and the Looney Tunes. I mean,
I would tattoo Kermit the Frog. I love the Muppets. I had that before I got into puppetry. Like the Muppets were, he said it was Star Wars, the Muppets, my age group, and I was obsessed more with the Muppets than Star Wars.
For me, my love of Muppets came.
Got like Muppets behind me,
yeah. Like I guess I always dug the Muppets when I was a kid, but like when I became like just obsessed with the Muppets was later in life for me. I would have been in high school when I think the 2013, 2011 Muppets came out with Jason Segel and everything.
Yeah.
I saw that movie in theaters like 3 times. I loved it. I mean, awesome. I just everything about it. And that's like one of my dreams. If I could do a movie with the Muppets, I mean, my God, it's like I don't need to do anything else.
Right.
But something about puppets, man, has always interested me. My cousin, when I was younger, had puppet that was like more of a marionette sort of thing, but it was like a real, just like Jim Henson looking thing. It had this long neck. It was blue and furry and looked like this weird alien. And I loved like just playing with it. I ended up taking it home. I was like,
nice. He was like, you can have it. One of those things.
Yeah. And I played with that thing all the time.
I loved it. Obviously, you can't see it on camera, but I have a wall over here with bookshelves, just a small bookshelf, but it's just covered in old 70s, 80s Muppet puppets and stuff.
That's awesome.
I kept them, collected them. Like, I'm a nerd for that kind of stuff. Like, I'm a huge Muppet fan. Oh, the Feebles. I love that movie, actually.
I don't think I know the Feebles.
No, I don't think so either.
What was that? You don't know? Have you ever seen Meet the Feebles?
No, I don't think so.
Before Peter Jackson did Lord of the Rings, he did a lot of underground films.
Yeah.
New Zealand, and he did like Bad Taste and Dead Alive. In between those, he did a movie called Meet the Feebles, and it's like an R-rated parody of the Muppet Show. Oh. I mean, and it's when I say R, I mean like
R.
Yeah, I mean there's
that's
the character is a hippo and her tits are always falling out and things like that. Like it's a lot of fun. Is it the best movie ever made? No, but it's a lot of fun. Like,
that's crazy. That slipped under my radar because I love Dead Alive.
Nice. I think Feebles was on Tubi for a while. It might still be, but yeah.
Opinions on Greg the Bunny.
Okay, I love Greg the Bunny. When puppetry really started taking over my life, really in the early 2000s, I moved to Tampa for a year and a half. And while I was down there, the Fox show hit. I was unaware of it. I'd never heard of the IFC thing. I didn't have IFC with the cable I had or whatever. So I didn't know about it. And the Fox show came on, and that was one of those things that was like I waited every week to watch that. Like, and then they canceled it. But I mean, as soon as the DVD, I remember I bought a bootleg on eBay after I moved back to Connecticut. I bought a bootleg of Greg the Bunny on eBay to have it. And then like 2 weeks later, they announced it was coming out on DVD. I mean, of course, I just spent $30 on a fucking boot. I swear, but $30 on a bootleg, and now it's coming out. And I worked at a Borders back then, so I'd even get a discount on it when it came in. Still bought it when it came out because it was better quality.
Yeah,
I love Greg the Bunny. I have the other 2 sets too, the IFC stuff. I love that show. I wish somebody would just give those guys money to do like something bigger with it. You know?
I can't believe it never did get picked up again. Honestly.
I mean, MTV did that show, but they canceled it like overnight.
Yeah.
You know, the War and the Ape show, which wasn't as good. I'm not trying to be mean, but the IFC stuff was my favorite though in the end, like the film parodies and all that. Oh.
Yeah, Greg the Bunny was a blast. I loved that show. Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, the IFC shorts are all on Tubi. The film parodies. They even do like a reunion special with the puppeteers and everything. Do like something like we're doing right now. Like they did put up during COVID, like a chat with all of that. It was cool.
I have to check that out.
One of the guys who created it went on to become a huge director. The Florida Project with Willem Dafoe. Not Dan Milano who played Greg.
Sean Baker.
Yeah, Sean Baker. He was one of the main guys behind Greg the Bunny. Yeah.
Huh. I did not
Whenever if you watch the IFC stuff, the guy he's always talking to off camera that talks back, that's Sean Baker. Yeah.
You're just dropping all sorts of knowledge on me today.
I didn't know that for years. I saw a movie called Starlet, but a chick in California who wants to become an actress ends up doing porn, but she buys this vase at a tag sale and finds a ton of money and tries to give it back to the woman and she won't take it. But that movie was directed by him, and I didn't know that, but there's a clip of Greg the Bunny in it. Like they're watching Greg the Bunny on TV and like this show sucks, and then I'm like, there's got to be a connection. Then I went and Googled it, and I'm like, oh, it's that guy. That's why.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
You know, Ron says if you love Muppets, you're good in his book. But for me, I don't talk to people often who know Greg the Bunny or Liam Lynch or any of these. So you're all right in my book, John.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
I've never heard of Greg the Bunny myself. I've heard
Liam
Lynch.
It was one of those shows. One of those Fox shows that era of Fox where they canceled everything after 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. It was during that run, you know, like Family Guy went off the air. They tried a million things and brought Family Guy back. Greg the Bunny was one of those things in that era, you know?
Yeah. Seth Green was one of the like the human stars. Seth Green, Sarah Silverman.
I maybe have seen. I know.
Yeah, Eugene Levy.
During that era you speak of, I know they put a show out that I liked, and it was gone after a season. So But it was not a puppet show. It was the Lucas Brothers Moving Company.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that one. I thought that shit was pretty funny.
That era, that like 99 to 2006 of Fox had some cool stuff that just never went anywhere. Anyways, and now I don't even really watch TV. So like,
stuff like that though. That era of Fox. I think Fox still does that on the sly, because all of my favorite shows have been like these shows like Cake that came out on FX a few years back. They released like 3 seasons in 1 year, and it was just like a bunch of like
they cranked it all out.
Animation, like a bunch of different animators and stuff like that. And every season there would be like one like narrative show. Probably the best one was Shark Lords. Didn't you watch that too, Chef?
Yeah.
The whole Shark Lords thing? Yeah.
Yeah. Two brothers trying to find a shark and fuck it.
Yeah.
We'll find a shark and we'll
find a shack.
Yeah.
We're gonna find a shack.
I wanna watch this now. Like,
it's great. And I know on Hulu they've got it broken down to where like you can either watch Cake as it came out with like everything like assembled, or you can watch all the shorts and series like separately as well. So that's kind of fun. Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic to watch it that way. It's so much fun. Stuff like that and off the air. Like I love that crazy like short form like animation, just trippy weird stuff where people just try whatever and throw a bunch of shit at the wall. That's always a blast.
That's how we started. We were just back in the early 2000s when we really got going. You know, we were just whatever we could come up with, we just film it, and there was no YouTube. You know, so we were like just making it for us essentially, you know, like just like burning DVDs and giving them to friends and stuff, like hoping that we'd come up with something bigger. And then right around the time YouTube hit, we came up with Steve the Vampire, and that ended up being our calling card, which was good. A lot of people love that.
Nice.
People still ask us to make more of those, and we probably will.
See, I saw the poster for Steve the Vampire, and that's what made me think to ask about Greg the Bunny. It just kind of gave me that vibe.
Steve the Vampire. Yeah, it's very like that homemade vibe like Greg the Bunny had, like with the way the puppets looked and things like that. And that's just what we were doing. I was still learning how to build, you know, like Steve was the first puppet I made actually. I'm like, I think I could do this. And I'd been doing it for like 4 years. It was the first time I built though, where I'm like, I think I'm good at this. It was the first time I felt good about it.
How long does it usually take you to make a puppet?
Depends on what we're doing. Like Steve is only arm length. So head to his waist is this, and it's all like very much like Kermit, just a glorified sock. Hand sewing and putting it all together, like 6, 7, 8 hours if you can sit down and do it that quick. But it depends on the puppet. If we're hot gluing them together, like all the head puppets we purposely made cheap because we knew they were gonna get destroyed. And 2, we wanted to kind of look more like puppets from the 70s when they didn't have as good fabrics and things like that, like pre-Muppets, like early Sesame Street, you know, like. So we hot glued everything, so seams are right down the middle of the head, like, you know, things like that. So, and those took, you know, not counting getting the faces right, like 3 hours each, you know, to put together. Like, and we were in a rush, but because we weren't going to do it with puppets, then we decided to do it with puppets, and it was last minute right before we were going to shoot because we had the sets and everything ready to go. But that's why everything's kind of weird, because instead of building it for puppets, it was meant for actors. So now we're like, the puppets aren't the right. It was fun. It was fine. But yeah, so like a few hours to a few days, depending how big you want to get. You know, we have this giant monster. Actually, you can see him over there on the bookshelf.
Oh yeah,
the big red mouth. That's Todd. He's got legs and everything. He's 4'11" when you stand him up. And he was the star of our first movie called Josh and Todd. It's a comedy. It's a romance. You know, and it's people and puppets, very Muppety. But like that guy took a long time because of his size and his weight. And I swear I'd never make a puppet that big again for me to puppeteer. But other people, it's their problem.
I feel you on that. That seems like that would be tough to do.
Yeah. Like you said, we've toyed with the idea for so long, and we just don't even know where to start. We're both just like, I know we could probably make a puppet, but how the hell do we make a puppet?
For me, that was the hardest part because it was 97 when I decided I want to do this. It was late 97. I really want, and I had some toy puppets. So I'm like, I can turn these inside out or take them apart. The internet wasn't around. You couldn't just go Google, you know, YouTube videos on how to make puppets. And I ended up finding this one book about puppet making, which was the foam style stuff. And just ordered it. Like, I don't remember how I found it, and that was like my Bible for like the first 5 years on how to make puppets. And then, yeah, and even then I was just making shit up as I went along, or taking apart old dolls and seeing because I'd never made anything like that, never sewn anything, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I failed sewing class in school, you know. Like,
Yeah, sewing is pretty difficult. It is.
yeah, so I remember like finding, like, nice. There you go. I remember finding when the internet finally started becoming a thing, there was a pattern I found online that Jim Henson actually put in a woman's magazine in the '60s. That him and one of the other guys, Jerry Jewell, was the head writer. They wrote a little play and included a pattern for like parents to make the puppets of their kids. And that was like the first puppet pattern I'd ever seen. And I downloaded that first time I saw it. It was like on some weird website. It was like 2001. And I still use that pattern to this day. I've modified it, but I still use it. Steve the Vampire was a modified version of that pattern. So the head at least, yeah. So like, I'll send you guys links later if you guys need links for puppets.
Yeah.
We'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
What's something you've always wanted to do with puppets that you've yet to do, you know?
What I really want to do, I can't speak for all the team, but what I really want to do is I would say I want to do one of each, which is like I want to do one of each genre. We did like the bromance comedy thing. We did a horror movie. Bernice 2 is a sketch comedy film. I would say it's a musically filled version of SNL with puppets. So it's sketch comedy.
Okay.
So we've done that now. I want to do like an action movie. I want to do like a chick flick. I want to do like one of each. Something we've never done is adapted anybody else's work. I think that would be cool to like pick a character that's well known and do a puppet film of that.
Yeah.
But maybe not like, I don't want to do like Batman. I want to do something a little more obscure at least. Like maybe do like a My Pet Monster movie or something, you know, like get the rights for something and but with all puppets. That would be cool, you know, like that would be the one thing I'd really want to try. But like hit every genre too. Like we're doing the kids stuff show or the family stuff, no behavior, but like, yeah.
How about Jason Chef?
There we go. Build them.
Yeah. I'd be cool with that. It'd be weird to see any of them up. Okay.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's one of those storylines that's been around for a few years at this point.
You guys have like a story?
We have like a rough idea of the story, basically. I mean, I know the gist of it is that Puppet Me is having an existential crisis. There's a lot of jokes about feeling like we're being puppeteered,
manipulated,
you know. Yes,
yeah,
and that's basically the gist of the episode.
But
nothing fully fleshed out.
There you go. With the movie Josh and Todd, it was all about how everyone's id is actually a monster puppet, and when you finally have your nervous breakdown, your id manifests itself in person as a monster puppet.
I love that.
And the poor guy Josh, who finally has this breakdown one night, wakes up the next morning, and next to him in bed is that big purple red monster, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And he just proceeds to ruin his fucking life.
By all means, if you do another thing with human actors and puppets combined, you give me a call. I don't know about old Sheppy here, but that'd be a dream come true for me.
Have you guys come out and do something? That'd be fun. Yeah. Get your
We've pretty much, with the Chase and Shep thing, we've learned that all of our lofty dreams, like maybe someday we'll do something with the Muppets or get to do a superhero movie. But until then, let's play in this playground and do all those things anyways.
Right. That was kind of our, like, Elmwood Productions really became a thing because it was like we wanted to do it. You know, we wanted to make puppet movies. It was me, and I brought all these people in who were like-minded though, and you know, our main cinematographer is a guy named Ricky who went to film school, and he came up to Connecticut to work somewhere in television. Had no friends, and one of our guys met him at a bar, just because he was new in town, and just was like, "Hey, I make movies. Oh, I want to make movies," and come to our meeting one night, and just became friendly. And maybe a year or two later, we were shooting Head, and he was the cinematographer on it. And I'm like, "When you went to film school, did you think you'd be making a puppet movie?" And he was like, "No." And I'm like, "Did you think you'd be in love with this kind of thing?" And he was like, "No." And I fucking never want to make a movie without puppets. Like, he was like it became like, he got passionate about it. He always loved the Muppets. That was something we bonded with, but like, he really gets it. And he started learning how to make puppets and all that. It's like, we co-directed Bernice 2 together.
I'm sure working with puppets has got to bring a certain amount of joy to your life.
even on our worst days on set, it's still more fun than anything else I'm doing. You know, it's more fun than having a day job. You know, I have a day job. You know, like it's more. No, I love my day job, but I love this more. You know, even my worst day on set is like, at least I got to do this today. You know, yeah. Or building puppets, it's still the coolest.
Want to be a
ventriloquist was not easy. Yeah, I am not a ventriloquist. My mouth always moves. So yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine how to do that one.
It's a whole other skill set on top of doing this and doing that right.
Yeah.
And not moving your lips.
You gotta have your mouth all closed. Yeah, I know. I just couldn't, because you know, some of the really, really, really good ones, they can throw their voice off, so it sounds like it's, you know, coming from a different area than where they're at with the puppet, and that would kind of scare me.
No, I'm good. Like,
I mean, out of all of the, I feel like the R-rated puppet things I've seen over the past few years, this was definitely the best of the bunch.
Thanks.
That includes like a studio movie like The Happy Time Murders. The Happy Time Murders.
No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it had hit streaming right at the same time that was hitting theaters. Like the production that picked that up for distribution, TerraFilms. TerraFilms put out some awesome stuff too. I don't know if you've ever heard of them or not, but like they did the Hell House LLCs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same company that puts out Head. They're the ones that bought Head, and but their whole marketing play when it was first hitting streaming was there's nothing happy about dead puppets. Kind of making fun of making fun of Happy Time Murders, and then Happy Time Murders came out and it tanked. Like, and you saw it, I'm sure you guys. Yeah, and it's not the worst movie ever, but it could have been so much better.
It's up there.
And it should have been so much better.
Right? How do you go so wrong with such a setup with puppets and comedians, and it was right there.
I you know, it wasn't my movie to make. You know, that's what I always say, but like. I feel like money got involved and things went sideways. You know, somebody financing it wanted something different than what it was supposed to be. That's my only guess. I don't know. I'll find out maybe someday, and I'll let you guys know. But like, yeah, so we came out around the same time, and it was great for us because everybody was shitting on that movie, and then people who were really looking for other films were finding Head and being like, "Oh my God, there's this other movie, you have to check it out," and that was great for us. It actually worked out really well.
Hey, fingers crossed the same thing happens to us on October 13th.
So what are you guys putting on October 13th?
The Exorcism of Chase and Shep, the same day The Exorcist Believer comes out in theaters. So
I'll be watching your thing maybe the 14th, because I have a film screening that night. So we're screening Bernice 2 in Connecticut that night.
Yeah.
So
tell us a little bit more about Bernice 2.
Bernice 2 was it's a sketch comedy film about these two guys. It's one day in their town, the fictional version of Elmwood, where they just go through the town throughout the day and just see what's happening. They experience everything that's going on around them, whether it's they stumble upon a funeral or they end up watching this guy get launched on a rocket ship on accident because he wasn't planning on it, or they watch or they end up giving these homeless guys who are arguing over whose real names they have. It's all just little skits, and they happen to roll through it. When I say roll, it's because one guy's in a wheelchair, one guy's riding on the back of it. They roll through it all and experience. Sometimes they get involved, sometimes they're just watching it, but they're there for everything pretty much. And they interrupt a band recording a music video. They do there's all kinds of skits. It's PG-13. I think it's the best thing we've ever done. It's definitely the weirdest thing we've ever done too, as far as like a big project. Mm-hmm. But it's got tons of heart, which was nice. And if you've watched all of our other stuff, there's like little throws. It's almost like a tribute to our 20 years as a team. Graveyard Gill's in it. Sammy, the black guy in Head, who gets killed, he's in it, and he makes a reference to because he's auditioning for a movie in a scene. He's like, "This isn't a snuff film, is it?" And they're like, "No." Then you picture Head later. He goes on and gets killed. So there's like little throws, like the Risley Brothers characters from one of our series, the Animal Behavior characters. They all appear in a scene here and there, Not that there's a continuity, but it was just fun to use everybody in these bits. And then there's some new characters that pop up and things like that. And it's just weird and it's funny. It's exactly 1 hour, just like Head. I think the credits roll at the 1 hour point because we didn't want to. marry it to a time. We just wanted to make the skits and make it funny. We didn't care if it was 45 minutes or 2 hours, whatever it was going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And it worked out that when we were editing it, Ricky, who was my co-director, who I was talking about earlier, he was the editor as well. He's like, I can bring this in at exactly an hour. And I'm like, that's freaking hilarious. For this movie, that's even funny too. Like, just a good tight hour.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it's not streaming anywhere yet. We have this one last screening. There are DVDs available. People want to order DVDs, plug away, right? Go to elmwood.com. The links are all there. But we're looking to shop it to streaming after this last screening. So we'll see what happens. I want to get it on Tubi. I think it'd be cool to have both Head and that together on Tubi. You know?
Yeah.
And if nobody buys it, we'll just put it on YouTube.
We feel that.
Yeah. So everything else is, you know, I mean, like we haven't really shopped the other stuff around besides Head though. So that's Bernice too. It's in the. I always want to like just anybody who sees it. The music in it is so great. Like we had a bunch of local bands just give us songs. Like we traded them music videos for the song. You know, we'd make a music video for you if we could use your song. And then fortunately, we managed to work some of the music videos into the movie to make it part of the film. So that was nice. Great.
Yeah. That's pretty dope. Did you do like puppet music videos for them?
Yeah, they're just like literally a couple of them are just taken right out of the movie and now it's a video. The only one we did with actors was there's a band called Sergeant Skag. They've been touring for years all over. They're a ska band. I've been listening to them forever. Like, you know, they're local too, but awesome band. And they came to us when we were getting ready to make the film right before COVID hit. And they're like, hey, do you want to make a music video for us? Because we always been aware of each other, you know? And it was like, yeah, we'll do a video for you if we can use the song in the movie. So that music video has them in it, but they become puppets in the movie, in the music video as part of the joke. And then we work all the puppet-related scenes into the movie.
Nice.
So they're getting 2 videos out of it because we released the video the way we made it with them in it. And then when the movie came out, we did another release of the video with just the scene from the movie instead. But it was still the whole song. We just cut it different.
Yeah.
Awesome song, too. Let's go on YouTube, look up Colton Nation. And it's awesome.
Colton Nation.
Yeah. We are a part of a Colton Nation.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
I enjoy that sort of music myself, so I'll have to check it out.
Cool. Yeah. And they're fun. They're great people. They're fun. So I just saw a couple of the guys a couple weeks ago in the show for the band. So it was cool.
Hell yeah.
Did you do original music for Head as well?
Yes. I wanted like a very like old school horror score originally. That was my vibe for it. I wanted like Friday the 13th or like My Bloody Valentine. I don't know why, but I love the music in that movie. And I also love how the end soundtrack, like the closing credits, is like a folk song. I loved how like horror movies in the 70s would always have the most inappropriate love song. like Last House on the Left, it's got a love song when she's being assaulted. It's like, this is fucked up. You know? I'm like, yeah, I wanted that for like the closing, but I didn't get that. Like, you know, we're a team, and I get it. And the guy who was playing Tom, the lead character with the beard who survives to the end, yeah, he's also a musician. And the guy who played Bruce is a musician, and they had ideas for like music. So they ended up coming up with mostly Nick, the guy who played Tom. He came up with all those guitar tones and all that. So it was more tone based than musical based, but it worked so well. So it was 100% original for that movie, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd wondered while I was watching it. I was like, I almost bet they did this.
Yeah, we did that on our own. Then the old end credit song is that like kind of metal song, and they did that, and we brought another guitarist named Mike, who's a really cool guy, to do all the wailing. You know, just do the 80s shredding. So it made sense. Like, yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
It is pretty cool.
What can you tell us about what's coming down the line?
Yeah, man, we're doing three real shows right now. Then some skit type things. The 3 real shows. The first one's called "It's Going in Rich's Mouth," and with his buddy Rich, who's one of our puppeteers. He's been a friend of mine since high school, and he will eat anything, or so he says. And we're testing that in this show. It's people and puppets, so it's Rich eating whatever I put in front of him as me, not a puppet of me, along with 2 monster puppets who heckle him. We've pushed him to the limit a couple times, but I also made him a deal that I would not make him eat anything I won't try either. And we've learned while making the show that I might be braver than him. He may be more willing to put shit in his mouth for sure, but there's some things that I've tried everything. So, and it's really funny. We just finished wrapping up the first season of that. It'll be coming out next. We're putting everything out next year. We're saving everything. Then another series is called which is a skit in Bernice too. We had a skit in it called Holy Toledo, the world's most fantastic stuntman, where it's like a parody of like the sports shows. The two sportscasters are always over the top, and then they cut to somebody doing a sport. Tell me that yes, it is free on Tubi. Yes, and and everything else is free on YouTube of ours except Bernice. And but like Holy Toledo, so he does these stupid stunts. It's like Super Dave Osborne meets Jackass, but with puppets.
Nice.
And so it was a scene in Bernice too. We spun it off into a show. We're almost done filming that, and then we're doing a second season of the show, Animal Behavior. We start shooting that next week. So if you're watching this, you're the first people to find that out. We've been keeping that kind of under wraps.
Another Chase and Shep exclusive.
Yeah, an exclusive.
Exclusives here.
And then we have more Graveyard Gill shorts for those who've been on our YouTube channel or seen Had to Know Graveyard Gill is. He hosts horror films. When we're doing one that I can announce, it's kind of fun. The script is ready. The puppets are almost ready. We're doing an actual remake of Plan 9 from Outer Space with puppets.
Nice.
Like a 20-minute version. We're condensing it to just to make it weird with puppets.
That's fine.
But, yeah, but that movie's too long as it is. So 20-minute with Gil, So we're the script just came through with one of our writers, and it's so good. I'm so excited to do that. And then we've got
really dope.
Yeah, and then next year we're doing a bunch of like little smaller things, like one-off little bits, which are just like quick skits with puppets. And we're gonna start releasing everything next year, so we'll have like almost 2 years worth of bank of product.
Nice.
I shouldn't call product of films to put out on YouTube specifically, and so we can take a breather and start working on what will be the sequel to Head. Because people have been bugging us for it. We have an awesome script for it. But we've had all these other things we've wanted to do. Like coming out ahead, we did Risley Brothers, we did Animal Behavior, we did Bernice 2, we did some other shorts, like Christmas Wishes, which is a horror short. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. I think you'll like that one. And The Jungle Man and Jungle Woman. I don't know if you guys have seen. Check those out. If you like weird horror comedy, check out The Jungle Man. They're on Graveyard Gill's playlist on YouTube. Yeah. And thank you. And there's so that way we can really focus on making the best sequel to Head we can and making maybe hopefully a better film. And we have this idea for like a web series we're going to do to build up to it, actually, like an in-between thing to show you how we get to the sequel. Like, yeah, we have some cool characters for it. And it's going to get weird. Yeah. Head 2 and 3 if all goes well.
Hey, there we go.
Fingers
crossed for you here. Yeah, we'll be putting out those vibes. We'll be here for Head 2 and 3. That's for sure.
Good.
I like I said, I'm really looking forward to doing a deep dive on the rest of your stuff because
you're watching. Yeah,
even the stuff I haven't seen, just hearing the stories and stuff, they're also intriguing. Like I think that to call them well written feels weird because I haven't actually seen them, but just
well thought out.
From a story standpoint, they sound like very intriguing. I want to watch these things.
Thank you.
So
I would recommend for somebody who hasn't watched any of our stuff yet, I would say like for high quality, stuff, not going back to the older stuff, but watch the older stuff, please. Animal Behavior is a lot of fun if you want like just a slapstick comedy. It's a half hour long. I think all 12 episodes run 30 minutes, 35 minutes. Risley Brothers is it's Cheers with puppets.
Nice.
And each episode's like 10 minutes long. I think it's there's a half hour short film that starts it, then the rest of the series is like 10 minutes at those tops. And it's a lot of fun. So if you like sitcoms, you'll like that. It's definitely like a PG-13 sitcom. And then Steve the Vampire is one of our older shows, but that's for a web series. I think the whole thing runs an hour, all 12 episodes.
I'm a start at the beginning kind of guy. So
okay.
I've told all the guys who have been on the show recently that I love starting from the beginning and just watching the progression.
On our YouTube channel, they're all on playlists. So if you want to start at the beginning, go with Steve the Vampire first. And then we did a lot of skits and shorts, so I'd jump right to Head from there. Or don't Steve the Vampire, then Josh and Todd. Watch the movie Josh and Todd. The whole thing is on YouTube. It's an hour and 10, I think. I think it's hilarious. It's one of my other favorite projects. It's low quality. We made it in 2008, and it was still when people were still shooting on tape, like digital tape. So Steve the Vampire was too, and it shows. It's like Steve, Josh, and Todd. Then jumped ahead because Head was really the next big thing. Then Risley Brothers, Animal Behavior, and then watch all the Graveyard Gill stuff, and you'll get a good pick out of everything.
Right on.
Or all the music videos. We've done tons of music videos. You get a good look at Bernice too if you watch the music videos, because a lot of the videos on our playlist for videos are from Bernice too.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, definitely going to be checking that out, man. And it's funny you say that because I remember the tape cameras back in the day. The ones you put like a VHS tape in, and then
Oh my gosh.
the smaller ones, then they hit, and then you got the DVDs, the little discs. I actually have
gosh.
below me here. I actually still have
Got to
one
play
of
this,
those
really.
old.
Nice.
DVD
Wow.
discs
Yep. I mean, I have a
that you
second
put in
DVD,
there.
actual DVDs next to me, but like, yeah.
Yeah, same.
The old
I've
camera
got a DV camera around here somewhere.
Yeah.
And a high 8 camera.
Oh man, that's awesome. We shot See the Vampire and Josh and Todd on DV tape.
Yeah.
Like it was the closest thing you get to digital on tape at that point. Like, wow. And I think about that now. Now everything's on these little things.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow. Yeah.
I loved shooting with that high 8 camera when my mother discovered it in her basement a few years back, and she handed it to me. I immediately went out. I bought new tapes, and
Yeah.
but the only problem was the camera was like, "Why did you turn me on? Like I'm well past my prime. Like my date doesn't even go to this year." So
Oh, that's awesome.
and it definitely sputtered out after a few uses.
Oh.
But it was a blast. I really need to get it fixed because I'd love to do a project like completely with a high.
Film it on that, yeah. That would be awesome. I would love to get like the old DV camera that we had. I know where it is, and just get it from the guy who has it, and be like, I just want to film one more See the Vampire episode on it. Like make the new one. Because we want to do more Steve anyways. Make the first one like just do the intro on it, and then have it transfer over to the modern. So it looks like you're watching an old episode, then it becomes the new. You know.
Yeah, that would be pretty dope to do.
Instead of having to like dumb it down in the quality, shoot it in that quality. You know.
Yeah, right. Save yourself a step.
I can remember watching, like, if you watch Josh and Todd, there are times you can actually hear the camera running. You know, because the audio we boom mic that movie, and we boom mic'd it like we were all in punk bands with like a microphone from one of our bands back in the day on a broom,
right?
Yeah,
on a broken broom handle, taped it to it. You know, like, and sometimes you can hear the camera running in the background. So it's still a fun movie. It's of its time.
I think that adds a little, razzle dazzle to it, in my opinion.
I love watching what I call backyard movies, like people who just made a movie with their friends and stuff in their backyard, essentially.
Yeah,
there's a charm to that, especially if they come out good. Like, it's fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
truly
I've said
film
multiple times recently on the show that even if we get bigger with the filmmaking stuff, I hope we never lose that quality. I hope we never lose the quality of a bunch of dudes making movies with their friends,
And that's what we still are. Like, to be part of the Elmwood team, we have to be friends. Like, it's there's no one in the group that doesn't hang out, and that's cool. That's really cool. And we've had people come and go. We brought people into like one project for like an actress or something, but like we all stayed friends, and and some people have left as time goes on for other things, whatever, but it's always a group. We're like a gang. We're like a band, Sometimes band members change, but everyone's still friends.
Yeah.
Right.
And it shows.
I feel like if I'd want to. Have you ever thought about doing like a live puppet show?
We've done a few. It's not really our forte. It's. And I always joke around like there's a reason why Muppets don't do things live, because it's so built to be in the camera.
Yeah.
When they do something live, something always goes wrong. It's the Muppets. It should. But we did a show. The original thing we were filming back in the early 2000s was a show called It's Late Enough with Plink that was going to be for public access, and it just, long story, just they didn't air it. But we broke their rules. They didn't air it. But having memories now. Sorry, unlocking memories. So we did a live version of that maybe 8-9 years ago, right before we shot Head. So we shot Head in 2014. So like 9 years ago, right before that, we did a live version at a comedy club. We were opening for a friend of ours owned this club, and he had the Wham City guys. I don't know if you know who they are. They do a lot of stuff with Cartoon Network. We've seen Too Many Cooks.
Yes.
Okay, those guys are a comedy group that tour as well as Wham City.
Gotcha.
And they were coming to Torrington, Connecticut, and our buddy asked us to like open for them because they wanted to have an opening act, and we're like, yeah, we'll come up with something. So we did a live version of that show. It was fun. It went off without a hitch, which was great. I felt bad for them because it wasn't promoted very well. So when our bit was over, everyone left, and we were the only ones in the audience watching them. with a handful of other people, but not a whole. Like everyone came for us, and then
Bunch of puppets in the seats.
Yeah, no, we just sat and watched the show, and they gave it 110% though. Like because their show is very interactive and very silly.
Yeah.
But everyone that came that stuck around was also there really to see us, and they were so cool. They were so nice guys. And then like a year later, Too Many Cooks came out, and I'm like, oh, these guys are great. They deserve so much better. Like than that night, you know, like. But we did that, and we don't do the kid's birthday thing. It's such a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that shit. Like, no, we've been asked, and it's just like I talk to people who do it, and they're like, just don't unless you really want to do it. Don't. It's not worth the money. And like, parents are always like one of my buddies does it. He's a clown. He's always like, parents are always like, oh, we can't pay you now because we spent too much money on the party. And he's like, I just did the show. Wow. You know, a piece of cake, you know?
Right?
We've done a few of the little things here and there. We have this one character, Johnny Sojive, who, if you go on our YouTube channel, he has a playlist too. He does this thing called Poetry Corner, where he just stands there and just tells the dumbest poems, but he's a drunken drug addict, and those ruin his poems sometimes. So he'll talk about the hooker he brought home who only wanted to watch his cable TV. That's his poem. You know, like things. He's in Bernice too as well. He's in Josh and Todd as well. It's the same character. So we've done live bits with him. Like he's been part of burlesque shows around here. Like come out and like help host the burlesque show, or been like a bumper between the dancers telling us dirty jokes and things like that. But never like a full blown live show other than that. Really, that one we did. Some open mic nights, things like that with that character specifically. But that's about it.
If it's not a bit in one of your projects of a puppet just smoking a cigarette being like, he's a party puppet.
Sojive is almost that, but we don't have him smoke, you know, because he's always like, I don't smoke because it's for weak people. The strong ones do heroin, you know, like just shoot me up, you know, like he's like, that's his whole thing. Like if it's not the hard stuff, don't bother me with it. You know, that's the character. He's
I vibe with that.
About him and his antics, but
that's funny.
I'm afraid we'd probably get canceled if we did.
Well, it's about that time for closing thoughts, I think. So who would like to kick off the closing thoughts tonight?
Closing thoughts of the I don't know, man. I've had a good week, man. It's been a fun week. It's been a nice weekend. So I went to a wedding. So weddings are always nice. Lots of love in the air. But if you I'll bounce back to something we said earlier. If you want to get into puppeteering, just make a puppet, even if it's shitty. You're gonna do it. You can do it the right way, even if it's not the best.
I'm gonna piggyback on that real quick. Like, if you want to be a filmmaker, because people are always like, "How do I make movies?" Get a camera, get some friends, make a movie. If it sucks, so what? You made a movie. Yeah. You know, the next one will be better, I guarantee it, or be worse, and that's going to be your thing. But you'll get better as you go. The same thing with puppets. Like, I look back at some of our early stuff and I cringe, but I'm glad we did it because we wouldn't have got where we are.
That's very true. That's very true.
Have you done a musical yet?
Bernice 2 is the closest thing we've done to a musical because there's a lot of musical moments in it. But we're planning one. We have like 3 different ideas for 3 different ones. So we'll see. Yeah. Nothing's. We're all like a lot of us in the group are musicians, like in Elmwood Project, so we've always wanted to do it. So yeah, eventually
a musical would be fun.
Yeah, like a very Muppety musical too. Yeah.
But yeah,
right on.
It's definitely true, though. I mean, it's just about doing it, really. If you go out there and you do it, and all you accomplish.
If you guys didn't do it, you'd be like, I wish we had done that.
Yeah,
you know, you guys are doing awesome stuff. So,
I guess my closing thoughts are: we're making a puppet. Sounds like Shep and I have a puppet to make. But yeah, man, like I've said it a billion times, I'm really excited to deep dive into your catalog. I've enjoyed what I've seen so far. I think you guys are very clever. And yeah, I love puppets, man. Keep it alive. Keep it alive.
My goal, man. Like, I can't imagine making movies without them now. We've talked about it a couple times, and we always let's do puppets instead. We have like a gangster movie we wrote, like a very Tarantino-y rip-off gangster concept, like short film that we weren't gonna do with puppets. We're doing it with puppets. Like, fuck it, you know?
Yeah. Fuck it. No, I like it, man. I think it sets you apart from the other stuff out there.
Thank you.
With the puppets. And even this conversation's got me like in my head thinking about puppets I used to have. Because my favorite one that I ever owned in New York City back in like 2000, 2001, sometime then, we went to New York and I got a Bill Clinton, like a rubber Bill Clinton puppet doll.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
so I love that because I'd always, at that time, he was all going to court and stuff. We all know that what Bill Clinton did while he was in office. So
Yeah,
could have been worse.
Jokes are just waiting.
And I have to say as well, as much as I, adore the Muppets and all sorts of family-friendly puppets, I love to see the R-rated puppets on display.
Yeah,
especially in clever hands. We've seen it go terribly wrong on a big scale before,
right.
So we know it can be done.
It can be done. And I would say when the first screening we ever did have had, when the boobs showed up, the place lost their mind. That's exactly what we wanted, and we knew we didn't blow it because they weren't laughing at it; they were laughing.
Right?
Because they were just in shock, and it worked.
Right.
No, it's very good. Everybody, if you haven't heard us talking about it or saw the little thing going at the bottom, you can catch it on Tubi. It's very Tubi. Entertaining. The hour will blow by pretty good, and you'll be loving it. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I would definitely go back and watch it again.
Even better.
As would I. Would I.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hey man, like I said, if you want to make a young man's dreams come true, you give me a call when the live action people come with the puppets again.
Josh is Todd part 2, right?
Hey, the last name's Todd. If you need a new Todd, unless the puppet's Todd, in which case,
the puppet was Todd. But yeah.
Well, this time the puppet is Josh. It's
flip it.
Got to do something new for the sequel,
right? The guy who played Josh would probably love that, so he wouldn't have to do
it. John, it's been a blast. We've enjoyed your stuff.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us today.
I appreciate it. You guys having me on. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. I think that's it. If you want to plug away, now would be the time to do so.
The best place to go is elmwoodproductions.com because the links are there. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We just started a Patreon. We have one person doing it. So we fought that for years, and finally I'm like, let's just do it. The worst that happens is nothing. So we have one if people are interested. Our first exclusive video drops on Friday for that, and then it'll come out next year on our YouTube channel. We have YouTube, which is where I prefer everyone to go and follow us. If you're going to subscribe to anything, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Linking us on Facebook and all that's great, but YouTube is where it's at for us. So please go there and subscribe, and you won't miss a thing. And there's not much happening this year, but next year it's going to be at least twice a month. We'll have new actual narrative content coming out, which is exciting, along with behind the scenes footage and all that. So please go there. But on our website though, elmwoodproductions.com, links are for everything, including where you can buy. They're back there, down there. But DVDs of Bernice and Head, if you want special commentaries and things like that too, that aren't on Tubi.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Yeah, old school.
Yeah.
Oh, hey man, I got my whole
media forever, man. Yeah, I have over 2,000 CDs and probably pushing 1,000 DVDs. I'm that guy.
I was going to say you got me beat. I think as of my last count, I think there are 1,200 Blu-rays and DVDs up there.
Nice. That's more than me for Blu-rays and DVDs for sure. But CDs, I worked in music stores for years though too, so that built up.
Gotta keep the physical media alive.
Yes.
Someday, tomorrow, Tubi might not have Head.
All right.
If you have the DVD, you always can get Head. That's a good plug. I should write that down.
All righty. Peace, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Good night.